Good morning, and thanks so much for tuning into the Trade Setup with me, Niraj. It's good to be back. It's been a bit of a hiatus. I was on a leave. But let's start with trying and telling you what's happening around the world and in the markets especially. So US markets took a bit of a pause in trade yesterday. The futures, though, are about 0.25% in the green, so that's a bit of an assurance. Asia, though, is a mixed bag. Hang Seng flat, Shanghai flat, Nikkei down about 0.63%, ASX, Kospi have some differentiated trades as well. So it's a mixed picture out there. Remember, our markets had cracked yesterday while the rest of the world wasn't so bad because of the expiry-led pressures. And I wonder what our futures are suggesting currently. About a 15-point in the green kind of an implied open. So, well, let's wait and watch where this goes. Now here's an interesting statistic shared by Harish Krishnan of Aditya Birla Sun Life AMC. He's got it from some report, of course, he's mentioned this, but I got it from his X handle, so I'm pointing it out here and giving the credit to him. As of end October, individual investors holding in micro caps was at 3.3 lakh crores versus 40,000 crore rupees in June 21. This is an 8.5x growth in 3 years. You know where individual investors have put in money, and therefore if there is stress in the system, could these stocks crack? Part one, because individual investors might be forced to liquidate some of the positions, they might get nervous, etc., etc. Two, it's just too much of money that has flown into micro caps, and therefore it becomes an interesting statistic to note as well, which is why maybe we've seen some pain in mid caps and small caps, much higher than what's happened in the large cap space. Okay, so what's the trade setup for the day today? Well, the Nifty rollovers was at 79.3% versus 72.9% in the last expiry, and even the 3-month average is at 76.4%. So the rollovers on the Nifty for the current series have been very high, and I would suspect that such high rollover in December series suggests that traders are carrying forward short positions. And therefore, if there is a brisk piece of positive news, you might expect activity, but the bent of the market doesn't seem to be tilted on the upside. I would suspect that there are upsides. I mentioned this yesterday as well. Yesterday, remember, was an unnatural correction day because of the expiry. I suspect stocks like IT, etc., might bounce back today as well. So might well have a day in the green, and I believe there are upsides, but market-wide, traders are positioned for the downside. Likely pain in MFIs or microfinance institutions will continue today. The sector may continue to see some red. And while these stocks, one or two, not the small finance bank, but microfinance institutions, the likes of CreditAccess, Grameen, Fusion Micro, etc., that is a set of stocks which might actually be the ones which might be under a bit of stick today because of a Goldman Sachs note. And I'll take you through that in moments from now. But I expect this whole bucket likely to be under a bit of pressure today. And CDMO stocks are showing strength, and therefore that remains a space to watch. Even on bad days, the likes of not just Syngene, Laurus, etc. These are the large ones, but even the Indian CDMO pack. I mean, look at a stock like Innova CapTab, for example, and the kind of rallies that stock has had in the recent past just shows you that even on good days, or even on bad days for the market, this is a bucket that is actually seeing strength, and certainly remains something you want to watch out for. Keep an eye on. A lot of HNIs have bought into some of these stocks of late. There's a listing today, Enviro Infra Engineers, a 650 crore IPO, subscribed 89.9 times, suffice to say, should ideally have a very strong listing. Now, what are the stocks that you want to monitor in the session today? I would suspect that aside of IT bouncing back, I think IT will bounce back today. I may be wrong, but I thought that the correction yesterday was unnatural. I was a bit surprised by the extent of the correction, and I suspect that there might be a bit of a bounce today. I'm attributing it a little bit to the expiry-led moves. I may be wrong, but let's wait and watch. IT might see a bit of a bounce today, as would life insurance stocks. Now, life insurance stocks have a reason. They corrected yesterday because there were notes that IRDAI has taken some action on regulatory changes as well. Now, HDFC Life, SBI Life on their part have clarified that the media reports stating that the changes to the bank insurance regulations by IRDAI may be incorrect, because the company mentioned that the regulatory changes of such significance are typically preceded by industry consultations. SBI Life also said that IRDAI adopts a consultative process and seeks feedback from all stakeholders before putting out regulatory changes. So it's very likely that such things may not have happened in the first place. I would suspect that SBI Life, ICICI Pru, HDFC Life, etc., all of them will see a bit of a pullback in the session today. So aside of IT, which I do think will correct, because somehow I feel that the correction was unnatural. This one was a rightful correction because of the reports, but I think these statements mean, I would suspect that the stocks will recover today. So keep an eye out for these names. CreditAccess Grameen will see a slam dunk today. Now, why is that so? Goldman Sachs has come out with a note on the stock. They have downgraded the stock to a sell from a buy. The target price has been cut to 564 versus the current price of 986. I think when I read the note, it's about a 42% downside that they believe. Now, why is this so? Well, they expect a further buildup of stress due to over leveraging in the industry. They say they are negatively surprised by the accelerating decline in asset quality in Q2, and they view the recent sector derating as structural rather than cyclical. Do watch out for this one. Do watch out for that whole space, as I said, may see a bit of a correction today. So keep an eye out on CreditAccess Grameen. To my mind, the stock of the day today, really. HUL, I don't have a thumbs up or a thumbs down for that, but it's the investor day today of HUL, and post that investor day, notes might come in. So therefore, expect the stock to show a bit of a reaction on Monday. But keep an eye out for this one. Through the day, there might be activity. I expect some reactions in M&M and Maruti. The stocks were clouded yesterday, but if you look at all the notes that are talking about what to expect from these stocks in the month of November, or auto stocks in the month of November, these stand out. Brokerages say that these are the two that are expected to show decent November sales, while the other companies largely flatline on a YOY basis. So watch out for both of these in trade. And Fine Organics could be interesting. We'll resume Badlapur plant operations from today. Is actively working on fully restoring all other plant activities to normalcy. I would keep an eye out for this one too in the session today. Lastly, just before we wrap up, I was reading some newsletters, especially the one from GMO. GMO is a global investing giant. And in their October newsletter, they have said that deep value is in focus. GMO says that deep value is historically cheap. And in our view, price to outperform dramatically in an environment where the future of so many equity groups are saddled with expensive valuations. Essentially, one more investing giant coming out and saying that please pay heed to valuations and please don't continue to grow to the sky. So I think when so many people talk about valuations and concerns around that, it pays to see reason. We've seen some bit of a corrective move happen in overvalued stocks. Very high probability that some more corrective moves may happen. I mean, even in, for example, the battery storage or the renewable energy or energy transition companies. The story is long, yes. The stocks will gain over a period of 5 years, but maybe there could be intermittent correction, so you've got to be mindful of that. We've recorded a very nice podcast with the ValueQuest team on this particular subject, which will be released in the next 5 or 7 days. Urge you to look forward to that. In today's conversation, for example, we'll be talking to Bajaj Auto on the channel. We'll be talking to Pratik Agarwal of Motilal Oswal on the channel. Those are some very interesting conversations that you might want to tune in for as well. Thanks so much for tuning into the Trade Setup.